come down to Bath to enjoy themselves, and that's what we're going to do this afternoon, because I've been told that Bath is also a place of very intelligent people. So we're going to do what the British government says we ought to be doing now, which is testing if you can actually write things correctly or not. But, you know, another reason why people come down to Bath, as we have been interrupted twice this afternoon, is because it's a great commercial centre and people come down to basically, and it's a very short, very precise English word, they come down to get. So, you know, they believe that I am because I have. And so they come and buy things here in Bath. But the problem is that most people know, and they may have even heard from the good book, that what a man has doesn't actually make up what he is. And so there are some people these days who are actually looking around, and they're more interested not in what they're going to wear or where they're going to live, although that may be very important, but they're more interested in how they are. And so I'm going to combine this spelling test with seeing whether this is something you want to get for yourselves, all right? So it's something you're going to get for yourself. Now, the spelling test is very simple. Now, I'm going to repeat the question several times because I know you've all got A's at A level these days. They give them out like confetti. But the fact is that we're going to see if you can spell the word life. You've got that. It's a four-letter word. I'm very sorry about that for those who get offended, but it's life, okay? Now, there are different ways of spelling it. Now, I know that some of you are going to dispute that, but let me explain. If you look here, you can see that I am spelling with my special letters life, but it's spelt with a capital if. And there are lots of people who say, well, you know, I'd really have a life if I didn't have the wife I had, if I didn't have the boss I had, if there was more business in Bath, if, you know, you supply whatever the particular desire is. And these days, we don't know the difference between desire, waiting, and having. And so we've got a society that is permanently dissatisfied, both with everyone else and with itself. And so if you are living in a world of if, which is a world of fantasy, you can't live with what you are today and what you have today. Well, there are other people, of course, who have got over the iffy stage, but their way of spelling life is like this. They spell it with a lie, because basically we live a lie. We're not what we appear. These days we put so much emphasis on having the right image, having the right body, having the right face, that finally we don't live reality. We live a lie, and we don't just live a lie in terms of image, we also live a lie in terms of the relationship that God, creator of each one of us, has actually wanted to have with us. And there are people who live a religious lie, that they have their religion, whatever it is, but basically the religion just alters what they are on the outside. And Jesus Christ directly confronted people, and he called them hypocrites, because he said, you are wearing a mask. You are living a lie, because you're saying one thing to the world, but God knows otherwise. And God knows each one of us. And however convincing you may sound to your neighbours, God knows how we really are on the inside. And unfortunately, there's another way of spelling life, which also leaves us without getting anything, which is very helpful for our lives. I'm going to spell it here. Now, this really does... It's to spell life with a capital I. And, you know, or a number 1 we could have there as well, couldn't we? And there are many people who basically have said, look, God, you've told me that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life, but I prefer to believe, and then we put in place of whatever God has told us what we prefer to believe. That is either idolatry or it's stupidity. But what it isn't is truth. And therefore, we miss out on what God has wanted to give us, which is life, and life in all its abundance. Jesus Christ said, I've come that they might have life, and life in all its abundance. And what happens? We missed out. And some people, during more than 2,000 years, they've been trying to get through some kind of barrier between them and God. If we can imagine God over there and mankind over there, and we've tried religion, our philosophies, our therapies, our me society, and it just didn't get through. In fact, Isaiah, 600 years before Jesus Christ even came to the earth, said, your sins have made an impassable barrier between you and God. And the only way and the only hope is that Jesus Christ broke through that barrier from God's side. God's one and only Son, the just, came and he died for the unjust to bring us to God. And that's good news. Now, some people say, well, you know, I'm not interested in religions. But I want to tell you, there's a difference between religion and having a living relationship with Jesus Christ. And the difference is that Jesus Christ came back 3 days after he died. He's the only one who's made promises which he can keep because he has the power to keep them. He has the power to forgive us. You say, well, I've heard all that before, and look, I mean, we've got monuments like that which now seem to be dead and seem to be taken over by people who don't even believe what they were founded upon. But you know, what's interesting is Jesus Christ hasn't been fooled by Christianity. Jesus Christ said, if you take my yoke upon you, then he invites us all to spell life with a capital L. But some of you who've done this in Britain know that that's a learner's plate. We have to learn of him. He said, learn of me because I am meek and lowly of heart. There's a yoke to take upon us, which means walking in step with him, which is not slavery. It is something which gives us complete freedom, and serving him is complete freedom. Now, how can you turn from a life which is just full of ifs, or a life which is a lie, or a life which is just filled up with you? That is very simple. It's to let the power of Jesus Christ come into your life, and that pushes out the other things. He can pardon us, he can cleanse us, he can fill us, and he can lead us into a life where learning is not a drudge, it's a pleasure.